Ladies and gentlemen, there are some political wars which you can easily win, some you cannot easily win. But again, in politics, you can only go into a war when you are sure of winning. Rigathi Gachagua is going into a war with President William Ruto. And from all indications, Rigathi Gachagua is sure of a win.
I have no other responsibility from today. It is to make sure that we have one single presidential candidate against President William Ruto. Once that is achieved, I'll then get back to the ground and start political mobilization.
Which begs the question, do you think Rigathi Gachagua can successfully make William Ruto one term? Because Rigathi Gachagua took a break, 45-day break from active politics. He retreated to Wamunyoro. And he told Kenyans that at the end of the 45 days, he's actually going to announce to the country the possibility of the single candidate. And he made it very clear that he was going to use that opportunity to only do one thing: craft a strategy of sending William Ruto home. Today, I was shocked to see none other than Jimi Wanjigi with Rigathi Gachagua. And I want to talk about that. Because remember, Jimi Wanjigi was Raila Odinga's main guy, main donor, main funder. Why would they now go and meet with Rigathi Gachagua? That's important.
So what is binding us together here? Just removing William Ruto. Then what? To give Kenyans the same life. I'm not going to be part of that lie. No, please. I haven't heard his agenda apart from one term. Have you? Have you? I'm asking you.
I'm still waiting.
Right. The other reason why that meeting is important is because Jimi Wanjigi was actually the force behind Uhuru and Ruto in 2013. In fact, Wanjigi has always made it very clear that Jubilee government was actually formed right in his home. So the meeting yesterday is significant. Remember, Jimi Wanjigi met with Caleb Amisi the other day. And he was also interviewed. Which TV was that? Was it Obena? And Jimi Wanjigi didn't leave kind words for Rigathi Gachagua. And therefore was actually shocked that he could meet Rigathi Gachagua.
Na sisi ndio tutasaidia wa Kenya kukomboa nchi hii. And we must use our numbers, which are the largest in the country, to liberate this country.
Did you choose to be a Kikuyu? No. Did one choose to be a Pokomo? Or a Maasai? Or a Kalenjin or a Kikuyu? No. Those were God's choices. And God's choices, don't start chest thumping about them.
Mungu alifanya tukue wengi ndio tusaidie Kenya. Na lazima tutumie hizo numbers kuokoa Kenya.
In Kenya, did we choose our boundary? Who chose it for us? So, when one talks about numbers, for example, well and good. But if the boundary in Luo Nyanza went all the way to the Luos in Uganda, what would the numbers be? If the boundary in Tanzania went on to take the Maasai in the Chaga and other regions, what would it be? Let us not jigamba. Okay? On the basis of our tribes.
But because politics is about interest, I want us to understand why Jimi Wanjigi went to Wamunyoro to meet with Rigathi Gachagua. Before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, the first reason why this meeting took place is the quest for a united opposition. The truth of the matter is that the only way William Ruto can be removed from office is if the opposition, all of them, can agree on a single candidate. In fact, that is the biggest task for Rigathi Gachagua. Because William Ruto is also not sleeping. He's awake. He's monitoring. In fact, some are even alleging that Jimi Wanjigi could be that mole being sent to infiltrate that camp. But the truth is, these ones here, the meeting we're seeing here today, is part of that quest for a united opposition. If you have Jimi Wanjigi with his odious debt, because in this country today, several leaders are running for the presidency, but the only person with agenda is that Jimi Wanjigi. If you talk of Jimi Wanjigi, you know he's passionate about the odious debt. So it's that quest. If you can bring Jimi Wanjigi together, the next time, I don't know who else they'll bring on board, and they'll be able finally to agree to front a single candidate. Number two, I think Rigathi Gachagua is also strategically trying to consolidate Mount Kenya, because Mount Kenya is going to play a key role in the next general election. The truth of the matter, and we can't run away from fact, is that the mountain is currently opposed to William Ruto. They voted for William Ruto. Some of us never imagined that they would dump Ruto, but they've done. So, for Ruto to be removed, something must happen in the mountain. They must vote as a bloc against the president, and they must turn out in large numbers to defeat Ruto. So for them to vote as a bloc, it means gathering all. You bring Wanjigi and his small support. You bring Martha Karua, his small support. You bring Jubilee, Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, I'm told that one of the main agendas during Wamunyoro's meeting has always been how to bring Jubilee and DCP to work together. So it's about consolidating the mountain to reject William Ruto. Number three, the winning formation. You see, the most important thing for the opposition is to defeat Ruto. And how will they defeat Ruto? Shortcut. Opposition must be united, and the various strongholds must also be able to vote against the president. So which means they will have to do what is called give and take in politics. In short, who are the people who are going to join the government? Who is going to be the presidential candidate? Who is going to be the running mate? Who is going to be the attorney general? Who is going to be the prime cabinet secretary? Who is going to be the speaker of the Senate? Who is going to be the speaker of the National Assembly? Who is going to be the governor of Nairobi? After this meeting, I saw so many Kenyans asking Rigathi Gachagua to allow Jimi Wanjigi to become the DCP candidate, gubernatorial candidate for Nairobi, because they believe that based on what he's been telling Kenyans, he has a fix for Nairobi. So I want to assume maybe that is the trajectory. Jimi Wanjigi wants to run for the governor. And because he wants to run for the governor, he must talk with Rigathi. So that when these guys are going to come up with that formation, then Jimi Wanjigi can be considered. The winning formation will include Kalonzo. Rigathi is out because he can't run, but he's insisting on the governor for Nairobi. So I'm looking at Wanjigi and Gakuya sorting it out. And number four, which for me, I think is very, very important. You know, when Raila Odinga was alive, he used to get a lot of information, especially on government tenders and deals. How many of you remember Jacob Juma? Jacob Juma used to feed Raila Odinga with those information. He was eliminated. After his death, Raila Odinga continued getting those classified information, the dossier. Who was giving Raila Odinga those classified information? None other than Jimi Wanjigi. Jimi Wanjigi has been addressing press conferences about the economy, and they're deep. So Jimi Wanjigi is entrenched economically in this government. He can get what he wants. Rigathi has that ability to communicate. So I think there's some information which this guy shared with Rigathi Gachagua. I won't be surprised if tomorrow Rigathi Gachagua will emerge to address the nation with a serious dossier. Ladies and gentlemen, I also don't want to rule out the possibility that Jimi Wanjigi met with Rigathi Gachagua because of campaign funding. He wants to participate in the campaign, and therefore he is willing to put his money in the campaign. And because he's willing to put his money in the campaign, they have to agree. What role will I play? If we win, what do I get? Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by asking you this question. What role do you think Jimi Wanjigi can play for the opposition? Let me give you a few choices. A cabinet secretary for treasury, governor for Nairobi, or just business dealer in government. Let me read your comments. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.